is Rose Schindler. I'm a Holocaust survivor.
Schluckleisner in die Tatzen, wer wird Tatzen mich schatzen? Oi, oi, Gott ist größer, hat doch gewünscht mein Häuser, die wir sind gegeben, Häuser, die wir sind ausgegeben, die wir sind ausgegeben.
Okay.
Starker Freulich, ich die Malke, du der Mähne.
Hey, we can in just a bit. I'll hand this to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bronner's, again for coming to our rescue. Good afternoon. What a pleasure to be here again. We are with Our Lives, Our Future, sponsored by the Chula Vista Heritage Museum, the South Bay Historical Society, inside of our Chula Vista Public Library. I'm so excited because I am with Rose Schindler. Rose, I could almost say, would be a second mom. In fact, if I had to pick a mom between my mom and you, it'd be twins, so I'd have twin moms. Rose wrote this incredible book called To Who Survived. And it is the latest book that's out for Holocaust education. It's an amazing book. If I'm not mistaken, this is Max Schindler, your wonderful husband. And if I'm also not mistaken, was this taken in Brighton
Beach.
In England?
In Brighton, right.
Brighton, England.
Right. It was a very nice vacation town.
Wow.
So when there was a holiday, we would go for the weekend.
Wow. This is fantastic.
We're 18 years old, both of us, because Max is 6 months older than me.
Uh-huh.
So, and we were engaged at this time.
Wow. This is fantastic.
You two meet.
We met in a hostel.
Okay, that's going. Yeah, but
But
it's
you have to
going
know
back.
how we got there.
Wait a minute. Can I say it, Rose? It goes back all the way back to Prague, and or Theresienstadt, and or actually Prague. I went from hostel to hostel, and eventually wound up in Bedford, and not too far from London, and. Rose was in Scotland, and her hostel disseminated.
Yeah, because
And there was a few left. The people left for Canada, Australia, wherever they went. Israel, no, there was no
some
Israel.
kids found
Palestine.
relatives that were sponsoring them, and they
Anyway,
took
so
them
they brought 10 or 12 kids from that hostel to Bedford.
To his hostel.
In the group were 6 girls. Okay, you'll probably say 7, whatever. 6 girls.
out. No, I didn't say 7.
6 girls.
Silly.
Hungarians into a bunch of Polish boys. Okay, you can imagine what transpired. Okay, 45 boys at the age of 17 and a half by now. Okay, close to 18. And they bring in 6 boys. These 6 girls were the "Don't Touch Me" girls. They were all sticking together like a group, like glue. Okay? Speaking Hungarian, we didn't know what the heck they're doing, talking. Okay, you couldn't. And little by little, they opened up and they started singing in the groups.
The first day I saw him, I said, "That's the guy I'm going to marry." Max is also a Holocaust survivor, by the way.
Rose, I want to ask you something, okay?
Yes.
When we do interviews, people talk about their book and the things that have happened, okay? But with this particular interview, I want to try something a little different.
Okay.
First of all, how are you doing through this pandemic? What keeps you busy?
What keeps me busy? I'm sitting home all the time. That's what keeps me busy.
But you're Zooming?
I am Zooming. I'm not speaking there's no speaking at schools right now, but it's all done on the Zoom.
Right?
Okay.
You've got podcasts that are out?
Yes, right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Pretty incredible.
Right.
I'm so sorry you have to go through this, because after being a Holocaust survivor and what you went through in the Holocaust, I just can't believe that you're going through something that is keeping you at home. The difference, thank God, is that you can see your family, you can see family members, but still, to have this to somebody who's anybody but a Holocaust survivor is crazy.
Well, I guess we can take a lot of horrible conditions.
Yeah.
Horrible situations. Okay?
Rosie, tell me, if I ask something that I shouldn't, I want you to tell me.
If I can answer, I will answer.
Perfect. What camps were you in?
I was in Auschwitz for 4 months.
4 months.
We got to Auschwitz. We were the last Jews taken. We were the Hungarian group. 1944, right after Passover.
Right after Passover.
2 days after Passover, they let us have our Passover. Would you believe that? The Germans came in about 4 weeks before Passover, and we didn't think much of it because they were just a half a dozen soldiers, and they left us alone. They didn't bother us, okay? Not that I remember. And they let us have our, and then after Passover, a couple of days after, it all started.
Rosie, this is not the first time I've heard this, because when it came to Lily and when it came to Solomon, they all told me that they had Passover in Poland, and then all of a sudden, Solomon now is in one camp, which they had turned into, the ghetto had turned into a camp, and lots, and then from there, he went to Auschwitz. Lily told me the same thing. So to have our first Holocaust survivors, first generation, tell us, what do we need to know? Well, before we do that, I would want to finish up the sentence.
Right, go ahead.
You were in Auschwitz. What other camps were you in?
Freudenthal,
Freudenthal.
Germany. After being 4 months in Auschwitz, they took us to Freudenthal. Yes.
So you were in Freudenthal
Till we were liberated, yes.
till you were liberated.
We were there working in a factory. In Auschwitz, we didn't do anything. We were in Camp C, okay, Barrack 26, originally, 1,000 women in every barrack, okay? And this was a camp where you stay a few days, a week the most, because this is a transitional camp. You come and you get selected and you leave.
Tell me what a day in a camp is like. You wake up in the morning, what happens throughout the whole day? Can you give me a one-day example?
We were woken up, I would say, probably 5 or 6 in the morning. We would all, what I went through, I can just tell you what I went through. I don't know what other people
No,
went
of
through.
course, no, I just want to hear from you.
1,000 women in every barrack. We had 30 barracks in Camp C. One barrack was a kitchen, one barrack was a bathroom. And anyway, so we go outside 5 in a row, and we are being counted every day. They want to know every day how many people there are in each barrack.
Did you have to remove your clothes, or were you able to keep your clothes on?
No. The only time, sometime we would have to remove our clothes when they came to select us to go to a factory to work.
Had they taken everything from you as far as suitcase? What did they, like they give you something, but what did they give you in the camp?
They didn't give us anything.
Did you have the dress that you
Are
wore?
Are you kidding? When we came to Auschwitz, all our clothes was taken away.
Correct. So did they give you a
rag they gave us, okay?
Okay.
No underwear, no shoes, no socks, no nothing.
You were completely barefooted.
They gave us clogs.
Clogs.
Clogs. It's unbelievable. And this is probably April 1944. It could be May, beginning of May. I'm not sure, okay? Because we had no knowledge what day it was, what month it was after being a whole year in camp, okay? So it's unbelievable. We were in Auschwitz-Birkenau for 4 months, and they had selections, I would say 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yes.
Did you face Dr. Mengele?
I think I did, but I'm not 100% sure. All I remember, as far as I remember, one of them was Mengele, okay? But not every time, just occasionally he would show up. And
what did you do to stay busy in the camp?
there was nothing to do. This was a transitional camp. You come, you get selected, and you leave. Of course, there were 28,000 women. This was an all-women's camp. I mean, nobody stayed there. The only people that stayed behind there is because they did not get selected to work. They would select you to go to gas chamber or to go to a factory to work. And if you were smart enough to run out of that gas chamber line, you survived. Okay?
Did you know about gas?
Yes. People let you know what's going on. People give you advice. I mean, when you're in a place like this and there's 1,000 women in every barrack, We need to know how to survive this horrible place, okay?
You were completely alone. You weren't with any family members.
Oh, yes, I was.
You
my
was.
two sisters.
That's right. Right.
Right, okay. And me and my we were 8 children at home.
Right.
We were 4 older. I was in the middle, okay? I had 2 older sisters and an older brother. My mother and my 3 sisters and brothers were taken right into the gas chamber.
Unbelievable.
Never saw them again.
What happens to somebody emotionally? Do you feel anything, Rose?
Do I not feel anything? Do I feel? It's unbelievable how you can survive such horrible conditions, okay? You have no choice. You either give in or you make sure to stay alive so you can tell the world what's going on, okay?
What got you through it?
By not giving up hope.
Not giving up hope.
Not giving up hope. If you give up hope, you're gone. You know, most people did that. They would just put their hands on the electric fences and within 20 seconds they were dead. You have no idea how many people were picked up every day in those big wheelbarrows. Dead people are on the fences because they couldn't take it anymore. They would just put their hands on there. 20 seconds later, you see blood coming out of the nose and they're gone. I mean, hundreds every day were taken in those wheelbarrows, okay? And the only ones that survived are the ones that never gave up hope. That's the thing.
Did you have friends? Did you have none?
You never had enough time to make friends because this is a place you come and you leave. This is not a transitional place, okay? Nobody stays.
When you went to the next camp, which was
Freudenthal.
What was that like?
Oh, it was like heaven compared to what we had before, my God. You know, being 4 months in Auschwitz-Birkenau, we had no cleaning whatsoever.
None.
No cleaning. There was one bathroom, okay, with sinks with cold water and holes in the ground.
Right.
No way to take a dress off and you could take your dress off and wash it, but there was no soap. You could wash it, and we were there in the summer, so actually I probably took off my dress a couple of times and washed it, and stayed naked until it dried, and then I put it on. But can you get rid of lice?
No.
My body was full of lice because we had no cleaning whatsoever. We couldn't sleep at night. I mean, my sisters used to say all the time, stop moving around so much. You know, a lot of women even have marks on their bodies from the lice. Okay? So.
When you went to Freudenthal, what did you do? What kept you busy?
It was like heaven.
It was like heaven.
Like heaven. 3 meals a day, shower once a week, clean clothes once a week. We worked. We did real good jobs, and they kept, of course, they always would say, if you don't do a good job, we're going to send you back to Auschwitz.
You got tattooed?
Tattooed us in Freudenthal.
In Freudenthal.
Right. There again, my number. So.
What do you remember eating in Auschwitz?
Horrible, horrible stuff. Not edible. It was not edible. We would get coffee in the morning in a pot. For 10 or 12 women or more, you take a sip. That coffee tasted like soot, black soot.
I remember when Max and my mother and you were sitting at the table and you were comparing soup. And I don't think I could eat for almost 2 or 3 days because of how you were comparing the soup. And to hear you talk about it, to hear other Holocaust survivors talk about it, to understand the importance of the New Life Club group, where you were a president, you were probably the lead organizer, it was probably you who was a founder, who kept all these Holocaust survivors and taught people to finally speak. And I believe that you probably have spoken to at least 100,000, 200,000, probably personally, but now with being online, you've reached millions and millions of people, Rose, with your story. You know, and it's quite incredible for people to have this book. You've made it so easy for people to have it.
Right. I've been speaking close to 50 years.
Sure. Are any of these, I mean, you're an expert at answering the questions that I'm asking, but if I'm not mistaken, when you got liberated, what was it like when all of a sudden somebody comes out and you realize that the war is over and you're liberated?
You
What
have
happens?
no idea that must have been the best day in my life.
That was what date? May?
May
15th?
7th, well, May 6th or 7th, I'm not sure.
Okay, 1945.
Remember, we had no calendar, right, 1945.
Sure.
We had no calendar.
Right, not a calendar, yeah.
Nothing. We
Yeah.
didn't know, but it was just a couple of days before the war ended, okay? And, you know, the SS used to come and march us to the factory every day because we had electric fences around our building, all right? And we're waiting and nobody's coming to pick us up. And I must have been the youngest person in that group. We were 300 women, okay? Maybe there was another one or two people that lied about their age like me,
Right.
okay? So I said to and of course we had two buildings, they were locked, and we were waiting hours to be picked up. And then I said to my sisters, I'm going outside. I'm not waiting here another minute, okay?
That's the Rose Schindler I
This is
know.
how I survived, by doing things I wasn't supposed to do.
Right.
Okay? And I go to the door, and the door is wide open. They must have forgotten to lock the door the night before when they brought us back from the factory.
Oh.
I go outside, and I see the gate is wide open, and all the Germans ran away. And I am screaming into the building. I said to all the women, you know, we were 300 women, I think we are liberated. Come on out, see what's going on. So, of course, I didn't see any soldiers or anything, but the gate is open and there's no Germans in sight because they all used to come and pick us up. So, and then I hear the Russian language. And they used to grow a lot of corn behind the building where we lived. You know, the corns grow very high. And I hear the Russian language. I said, and I'm screaming into the building. I said, come out, I think the Russians are here. I think we are liberated. And so, of course, before I would go anywhere, in regular clothes, because we had regular hair by then,
Right.
regular clothes. We did not look like survivors anymore, okay? So what I did, I tore a piece of my dress off, okay, and found a stick, and I went like this. I went into the back of the building, I went like this.
Oh, Rose.
Because because they would think I'm German, because I looked like a regular, normal person.
Right.
Okay? I'm going like this, and they're coming in through the cornfields, all these Russian soldiers. And they hugged me and they kissed me, and I told them who I was, because we lived in a village called Serednye, okay, which is right between Munkac and Ungvar, okay, and the people over there spoke Ukrainian, okay. Of course, we spoke Yiddish at home,
Right.
and then we spoke Hungarian because my parents were born in Hungary,
Right.
okay. And then we were speaking Czech because this part of the world became Czechoslovakia after the First World War.
Right.
So I was speaking Czech, Hungarian, Yiddish, Ukrainian, and the Ukrainian is a little similar to Russian.
Right.
So when I went in front of the Russian soldiers with a flag, I could figure a few words, okay? So I go and meet the Russian soldiers, and they hug me and they kiss me, and it was an amazing, amazing day.
One of my favorite questions that I asked you, and I really would like our viewers to see this, okay? So, for all this time, you had no delicacies of any kind. When was it like that you had your first piece of chocolate? I asked you this
Do you
before,
know-
and I loved your answers. So, do you
Yeah.
mind repeating it?
Well, you know, the Germans had a lot of camps of the American soldiers, the British soldiers, or whoever, okay? And there was a camp of American, I think they were American soldiers. I'm really not sure if it was American or English, because I didn't know the difference.
Sure.
Okay? They would come and clean, do certain things when we had problems in the barracks, in our buildings. Say the bathroom didn't work or something broke, so we don't know how to do that, the survivors. So we would get these soldiers come and help fix the place, okay? And they spoke either English or American. Of course, I didn't know the difference in those days. And one of the soldiers would come maybe 2-3 times, okay? And we got friendly. I became friendly with him, and he would bring chocolate.
That is
Bars
so
of chocolate to us survivors. And of course, he would give it to me. Not too many of other women would You know, me, I'm a very open person. I speak to everybody.
Sure.
Even today when I walk in my park, I start speaking to everybody. Okay? So this soldier came back probably 2 or 3 times, or maybe more times, because when we had problems, and he would bring me chocolate.
You have something on your neck which I call the chain of hope. And
Yes.
this came from your father.
This was my father's pocket watch
And
chain.
when you buy the book, when you obtain the book, you'll notice that throughout the book is a gold chain.
That
And
was my father's.
it's almost like Rose giving you that gold chain of hope. And as you read this book, it just gives you such appreciation for where you are now. I think that as we're approaching colder weather, you're lighting your fire, you are approaching Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas. This is
New
an
Year.
amazing present to give to somebody,
Anybody.
because it just lifts your spirits. If you feel that somebody is too young to read it, it's a great book to read with that person.
Well-
And you share that book. You make it a point.
I wrote this book for middle school kids,
Uh-huh.
but everybody can read it. But I didn't want the middle-aged kids to have to faint or to start crying, because some of these things are pretty sad. Okay, so I started with middle school. And I tell them, you know, I don't think I want to talk to kids under 10 years old.
Interesting. You know, for Ruthie, because she was 10 when in 1939 and when everything happened, Ruthie learned how to speak in such a way that it wasn't just flat out, but the fact that, Rosie, just the fact that people can shake your hand and meet you. I mean, I'm sure that when you enter a room, you get a standing ovation,
It's amazing, you know. Every
which
time,
happens.
If I go to Mission Valley or Fashion Valley, hey Rose, I have no idea who they are.
Don't forget me.
I mean, we've been selling. This book came out about
Rose,
a year
I'm
and a half
so
ago.
proud of this. I'm so proud of you, because I remember when our book was coming out, and Max and you and me and my mother, we were in the room together, and it was just being able to talk about the Holocaust. Imagine if I was in a room and hear people said, no, I don't want to talk about it. We're not going to. But you made it a point to be so instrumental in getting people to communicate the importance of kindness, the importance of what the Holocaust was, that this is something we can never forget.
How can you forget anything like that? It's amazing that I don't remember things I did yesterday, okay, or
Rose,
last week, but I can never forget what we went through.
Let's talk about amazing things that have happened to you. You got out of the concentration camp. You met the love of your life, Max.
Right.
You ended up coming from England to United States,
Right.
correct? All of a sudden, you give birth to your firstborn beauty, Roxanne.
Right.
What was it like for what you went through to realize that some people couldn't have children, and now
A lot of
you're
people have
able to hold this incredible... What was that like for you?
It's a new world for me.
A new world.
A new world, okay. Nobody can imagine what we went through, but then you have to forget some of the past because it's so horrible. You know, you can't always have it on your mind.
Rose, some people, they would never tell their children that they were in the Holocaust.
We didn't either. We didn't talk about the Holocaust till my son Steve was in Lewis Junior High,
Uh-huh.
and he was in the Anne Frank story. Okay?
Right.
And the teacher found out that his parents are Holocaust survivors. That's when I started speaking.
Oh, Rose.
And Steve is almost 62 years old. So you can imagine how many years I've been speaking.
Oh,
Okay?
my gosh. So all of a sudden, he's in this play,
Right.
and then he finds out that his mother and father survived the Holocaust?
Well, it was not a pleasant thing for us to talk about, especially when kids are young. So, no, it was an amazing, I was amazed that I could do all this.
When you look back now,
Right. The first time I spoke to the school, I couldn't stand up. I had to sit down. My whole body was shaking.
look what you have to look forward to now. People hear the name Rose and they all respond by Schindler. They say, do you know Rose Schindler?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And Max was speaking at schools too.
Yeah.
He was not a speaker. He did not like to do that. But many times he was asked and he came. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people couldn't speak about this.
Rose, do you see yourself doing a second book?
I don't know if I need to. No, I don't know.
Do you ever decide when you look
If
at...
I would do another book, it would be about this country.
Thank you. That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Most people say that they would want to be able to do a book about their philosophies and what they learned way back when and what we can do to learn about the future from our past. I really hope you do that.
Well, maybe someday. I never even thought of doing books, but somebody, when I speak at schools, a lot of parents come to listen to the story too.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day somebody comes to me, and actually for quite a few years people came to me, teachers and parents, would I write a book? But it took me so many years to get to it.
Yeah.
I mean, this all started last year.
Rose, I will tell you that my mother, and you probably know this, absolutely adored you, loved you, considered you to be a sister, considered you to be somebody that she could talk to, that I just know that she had this absolute love for you and your family.
We were good friends,
Yes.
okay, since we had no family, so we became friends with all the survivors here in town, actually.
Rose, stupid question, I'm going to ask it. You've seen a lot of survivors pass away, your friends.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What have you learned from this?
Well, I don't know what I learned from it, but just stay alive and keep speaking as long as you can.
Right? And stay healthy?
And stay healthy so the world knows what happened, so it should not happen again.
Rosie, you're the only person I know that runs faster than most people. You're the only person I know who can dance longer on a dance floor than most people. And you really know how to get the point across for what's important. You're such a glorious woman.
Thank you.
I'm amazed.
I don't know about glorious.
No,
but
you are. Tell me about your family. You have
I
four.
have 4 children. I have 9 grandchildren.
9 grandchildren.
And 1 great-grandchild. Okay.
Wow.
And I'm blessed with all this, okay? Listen, we should have a lot of kids, so maybe we can make up for some of the people that we lost.
I hope that people go to your YouTube channel.
Right.
The name of the channel is Rose Schindler.
Right.
Okay. And there people can see what it was like for you to be in Auschwitz with your husband. You have...
Well, my husband was not in Auschwitz.
No, I'm saying when you returned, when you went back to Auschwitz, he was with you.
Oh, absolutely. We
Yes.
went back five and a half years ago.
Right, I remember
Actually,
that.
For the 70th anniversary.
You made national news with that.
Yes. I had every channel on.
Yeah.
We were on every channel.
Right.
And actually, we were supposed to go in this year too. But 2 days before the trip, I got sick and I couldn't go. But some of my kids went.
Sure.
So for the 75th. I doubted if they're going to have an 80th because there's not going to be too many people left.
Right. Hey, Rosie, do you like Girl Scout cookies?
I love everything.
Come on, tell me about your award. Your Girl Scout award.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I'm a Girl Scout woman, was awarded, and other organizations too.
Yeah, tell me about them.
I don't remember their names.
You are
that's
Woman
what
of
happens when
Valor.
you're 90, you forget.
I know, but you were the number one
Was a Girl Scout
designation
group.
for Girl Scouts.
That's probably 5-6 years ago.
I know, and it's a great video.
Yeah.
And people, you can watch that video. The other thing that I like is, that I love, was that you were a Woman of Valor.
Right.
So tell me what happens in Woman of Valor. If I'm not mistaken, you talk with somebody, and then all of a sudden, you see yourself because an actress is performing your piece.
Right, telling my story, right.
That's-
They do that every year, actually.
Yes,
Okay,
but you were one of the first ones.
right. I actually have even been given the high school graduation.
Oh, okay. So tell me, let's go back.
Country Day School. I've been speaking to schools for many years. Okay?
Right.
So Country Day offered me
You were given your high school
high
diploma.
school diploma. I said, my God, how do I get this?
Rosie, I saw it online. People can see it on YouTube.
Yes, I see.
And I love it because you didn't walk for your diploma. I saw you run for your diploma. It was beautiful.
Well, I think it was unbelievable.
Well, let's go one step
yes.
further. You have a higher degree.
Oh, yes, I have a college degree,
That's right.
and I have another degree, some other past the college.
Doesn't it feel great?
I think it's amazing. I mean,
Doesn't it feel good to know that what you're saying is so important to
because I'm
everybody?
speaking to all these different groups, okay, and they think it's nice that they're going to give me this honor, okay.
Rosie, you've spoken to so many people. What can you say to me now that nobody's ever heard? Is there anything that you thought, God, I'm so sorry I didn't say that and I should have said that? Is there anything inside
I
you?
don't know. Well, usually it's always half an hour, 45 minutes, so you cannot tell too much, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I just try my best and I do what I can, and then I maybe make a couple of notes and say, next time I'm speaking, I may have to make sure that I mention this or that.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell your whole story.
Give me a message of hope.
Well,
Give our viewers a message of hope. This is so important.
just never give up hope, because you may have a bad day one day, but that doesn't last. It goes away.
Mhm.
So just know tomorrow will be better, okay? And enjoy life. That's what it's all about, okay?
Sure. People can find the book on Amazon
Oh, they can find on different channels.
or different
On the-
places.
on
If
the-
you go
in
to
in the Zooms.
right, there's Two Who Survived, and if I'm not mistaken, it's twowhosurvived.com.
Right.
Am I correct? Where people can get the book. It's really glorious.
Yeah.
I will tell you that yes, I have a book, but it's not as beautiful as this book. This is totally, totally wonderful. And I will tell you that if I'm not mistaken, there's an audiobook coming out
Right.
in 2 weeks.
of them, a
Two
couple
of
of
them.
them.
Two.
One
One
audio-
audiobook in 2 weeks. So what we want to make sure is that if it's something that, let's say you're taking a nice long drive, which is a wonderful
That's it.
idea. Let's say you want to take a drive with your family. Go ahead and get this audiobook. Listen to it. Listen to what Rosie
And
has
you
to
know
say.
something, even the kids will want to listen to it.
Oh, of course.
Because I was a 14-year-old child, actually, when this was going on. So, middle
Wow.
school,
Look at your memory.
yeah.
You're just
Well,
amazing.
my memory is not so good anymore.
Yeah?
I can't remember what I did yesterday. How is that? That's what happens that's what happens when you're 90 years old, okay? And it's
Rosie.
amazing that I'm still around.
Let me ask you something. What's your favorite food? What do you like to eat?
I eat everything.
Everything.
I eat everything. There's not any food that I would not eat.
You want to know what Dr. Egger told me? Eger told me. She said, I eat everything, and if you're not going to eat that, I'm going to eat that too. I thought that was so funny. Yeah.
Yes.
But you don't have any favorite things where,
Well, not really. Actually, my favorite meat is chicken.
yay, good for
Okay.
you. Good for you.
But as I said, I'm thankful that I can eat everything I have. And
Rosie, you are beautiful. You are delightful. You are a sweetheart. I'm so proud to call you just such.
don't overdo it.
No,
now.
it's true. It's true.
They might expect too much of me.
No, we've been through a lot. I love this book. I
It's
just
really-
absolutely love
it's
it.
a very most of the people that buy my books, they can't put them down.
Oh, of course.
Okay,
Of
they start
course.
reading it and they can't put it down. That's what I hear from all my
Yeah.
book buyers.
Sure.
I take a walk in the park and I take books with me, and they, hey, hi Rose, everybody knows me.
Do you remember when your book first came out and we were in Mission Bay and we had all these books, and everybody was just like attacking, Rose, your book is out, and you were just like, well, and you had the last one, and I thought,
I don't
no,
remember that,
I'll
though.
wait, and then I went to La Jolla. I was at the bookstore in La Jolla when I picked it up.
Right.
You know, I thought good things come to those that wait, so
Yes.
I was able to get it.
Yeah, we sold a lot of books at the La Jolla. What bookstore was it?
It was at Warwick's.
Warwick's, right.
Warwick's
That
bookstore.
was last summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Hey, Rose, one more question. I know you're such a busy person. I got to ask you, what'd you think of the exhibit? Did you like
I
it?
think it's beautiful.
Yeah?
I think it's amazing. You really did a great job.
I really hope, my goal is that we as a community can look at this exhibit and say, okay, we have to take this, now that South Bay is done, what do we do to get people in San Diego and Poway and El Cajon and everybody else that's in the San Diego to finally build an exhibit? Because I'll do whatever I can to volunteer. And I also believe that as we're documenting, people can just look at the episodes. I believe that South Bay did their part. You know, we did our part to get this up and running. It's not that difficult. But I also feel, and here's one of my problems.
You're so lucky to have all these pictures from the past.
Yeah, I know, but I'm also lucky because I'm in Chula Vista. Who's going to do this for me in San Diego? Tell me.
Well, I have no idea, but maybe you can go and talk to the libraries or.
Rose, you going to help me?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Anytime, I come with you.
Okay, it's documented. You know that.
Okay.
Here's my problem. Ruthie gave me this dress. Am I supposed to now give it to Sam and Max, or is it supposed to go in a museum that everybody can appreciate?
I think it would be great to go to the museum.
Thank you. So if you had to pick a museum, which one would we pick?
Well, I don't know too much about museums.
Right.
That's another thing.
So my choices are very limited, but if we had something in San Diego that we know could be permanent, that is where this would
I
go.
think that would be beautiful, and that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Rosie, I got to say it again. I'm sorry I have to repeat myself. I love you.
Thank you.
You're a
I love
sweetheart.
you too. Your
I'm
mother and I were very
So
good parents.
sorry for this. This is the first time I have never hugged a Rose Schindler. What am I going to do?
I am 15 minutes away from here.
I know.
Okay? You know where I live.
Of course.
Okay.
A combined visit.
Okay.
In the meantime, if I'm not mistaken, I hope I'm not opening up my mouth where I shouldn't open it, but Rose will be donating this book to Who Survived to our Chula Vista Library. I believe that it will not be removed from here, so as we reopen, that people can enjoy it. I'll make sure that our head librarian, Joy Watley, gets it.
Okay. Ben brought 2 books with you.
Oh my gosh, and I have mine, so
Okay.
this
I'll
is
be
great.
Happy
but
to sign it.
I really hope that, you know something, Rose? That's a good idea. When we reopen, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask Ben, I'm going to ask the whole Schindler family, if I could borrow you, put you in the auditorium,
Sure.
have you do a talk, and we can have a book signing.
Absolutely.
I would love that.
That would be great.
You have given so much of your time.
It's amazing that you have all these pictures, and also that your parents were able to save those clothes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's unusual
Yeah,
because they didn't do that for too long.
right.
Over in, but your parents were in what camp?
My father was in a transition where he was invaded by the Nazis in what do you call it? Austria. Ruthie was in Theresienstadt.
All the time?
Yeah.
She was lucky to
Ruthie
be
was
there.
Ruthie was in Theresienstadt, Auschwitz, and Oderon.
Auschwitz?
And in Auschwitz, I even have a little video of you and Gita and my mother talking, where all 3 of you were in Auschwitz. I've used that video before, and what happened is that she was there in October. So she got there October 23rd, 1944. And then from there she went to Oderon. Oderon was a thread factory, but they turned it into a bullet factory.
And she was able to take her suitcase with her?
No, everything was taken from her. We had a non-Jewish relative who took all the photographs, everything, and that was it. So on this wall where you see on case number 4, where you see my mom with the boots,
Right.
those are the replacement boots. After the concentration camp, my grandfather and my mother, were talking, and my mother said, "I really miss my handmade leather boots," and he found a way to replace her handmade leather boots. Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
yeah.
Well, they did a great job, your parents,
Thanks.
okay, whatever they did, okay?
Thank you.
And
Thank
I think
you.
we met your parents probably
1956.
We met them the year we came to San Diego.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Remember the other family? I can't remember their name. They were in the also in the business of fabric business.
Rimlers. There was the Rimlers, then there's Recht,
No,
then there's Wapner.
Wapner.
Yeah, Sid Wapner. Yeah.
I tell you, when you're 90, you forget a lot of things. Okay.
By the
So-
way, I wanted to ask you something. I want to thank San Diego Jewish Federation and San Diego Family Service, Jewish Family Service.
Absolutely.
And the reason I want to thank them is because Hetty Dallin has stayed in touch with me asking, what do the survivors of South Bay need? So I'm going to ask you this question, okay? What is needed now that you think San Diego Jewish Family Service and San Diego Jewish Federation can do for the Holocaust survivors? What can they do?
I really don't know what they can do, okay? You're supposed to stay away from everybody. That's
Right.
another thing.
Right.
Okay? And the ones, I don't know, I haven't been in touch with a lot of them, okay? I haven't even gone to we have had not too many meetings.
Right,
We used to meet once a month.
right. I used to love going to those meetings.
Yes,
Yeah.
once a month, and we would have lunch and we would get together. But actually, we are meeting this Friday on the Zoom.
Oh, fun.
Okay, and
Excellent.
They're delivering the meals to every survivor, which is nice.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That is so nice.
Yes, but the organizations did very well with the survivors here in town.
Yeah.
Okay, they really helped us all the way from day one. When we came, right away we looked to see, is there a Jewish community center? Is there this or that?
Right.
And do you know that the Jewish Community Center was built probably in 1958 on
54th Street.
54th
And
Street
University.
And University.
Uh-huh.
And we became members.
Near Bloomer's Bakery.
And yeah, Bloomers was in North Park
Yeah,
originally. They
yeah.
moved to
Then it
that
moved?
area,
Uh-huh.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we all started in North Park, okay? Because there were no college area,
Right,
no
Tifereth
Del Cerro,
Israel.
Right. So we started in North Park, 2 synagogues, Beth Jacob and
Tifereth.
Right.
Yeah.
And then within, I guess, 20 years later, we started moving.
Right.
Actually, we moved away after 6 months in North Park.
Uh-huh.
But even the synagogues, they moved like almost 20 years later.
Sure.
So
Sure.
we started spreading out all over San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Rosie, you're up on the hill.
Well, no, my kids are up on the hill.
No,
my kids are up there. I'm
Sure.
on the bottom of the hill.
They like to watch, make sure Mama's behaving, right?
Right. Well, actually, I like being on a level area. It's easier for walking.
Sure.
If you
sure.
go up to Ben's house, it's nothing but,
Right.
up and down. So, but San Diego is a great place, let me tell you.
Yes.
And I don't think there would have been a better place than San Diego for us to come.
Right. Right.
So we were only in New York 5 years, and now we came here. It's because all the survivor boys were taken to the military,
Right.
and some of them ended up in San Diego, and we were in touch with them. So they. One day, one of the friends here said, "Why don't you come to San Diego?" Because Max learned the computer business.
Mm-hmm.
He came to San Diego for a 3-day weekend, Christmas 1955. He never went back to New York.
Oh, wow.
He calls me 2 days later. He said, "Rose, we're moving to San Diego."
How lucky are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and so right away, of course, we looked to join the New Life Club.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the New Life Club was in business already. And so anyway, it was a great change to come here.
Sure.
Great place. San Diego, I think, is the best place in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's funny because all my kids, they went to school out of town. They all came back.
Right.
They're all in San Diego, except for some of my grandkids. They're in LA. So, but eventually I hope they come back.
Right, for sure. Rose, it has been absolutely a delight having you here. I want to thank you so much.
You are very welcome. You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's
You and
nice
I,
to
I'll
see
tell
you.
you, when this pandemic closes,
Yeah, we'll get
you have to
together.
make a promise.
Right.
We go to lunch, and I will see you here in the library, correct?
Okay,
All right.
absolutely.
With that, let's wave to our viewers and say thanks
Thank you
for
for
watching.
us, okay? And if you have any questions, you can always call me.
Yeah, and I'm a lucky person. I'm with Rose Schindler.
Wer wird tanzen mich
Bye.
schatzen? Oi, oi, Gott ist größer, hat doch gewünscht mein Häuse, die mir sind gegeben, Häuse, die mir sind ausgegeben, die mir sind ausgegeben. Starker freilich, ich die Malke, du der Melech. Oi, oi, ich allein hab mit meinen Augen gesehen, wie Gott hat mir Matzelig gewinnt, die mir sind ausgegeben, die mir sind ausgegeben.